All right. Good morning, everyone, and thanks very much for joining this session with the Nigerian Exchange Limited. The agenda for today's session is repositioning analytics and AI for capital markets growth in Nigeria. I have with me here Dr. Olufemi Oyenuga, the Chief Digital Officer of the Exchange, and Dr. Irene Robinson. Dr. Irene Robinson is General Counsel of the Exchange, the Divisional Head of the Share Service Division, and I also have Temiloluwa Shobowale. Temiloluwa Shobowale represents Intelligent Interactive Limited, commonly known as Rep Analytics. Adedamola Adetola is from Bridgewise. Bridgewise is an AI LLM platform for the capital market and finance generally. Dotsun Adeoye represents AI in Nigeria. And I also have Femi Bejide representing StartiSense. We're also going to be having an interactive session with Daniel. Daniel is from Intero. Intero deals in digital assets, and they are a partner of the exchange in these regards. In today's session, we will start with opening remarks that will be handled by Dr. Oyenuga, the CDO of the exchange. Temiloluwa Shobowale of Interactive Technology will present on analytics and the application in the capital markets. Then Bridgewise will also present in a 10-minute session on what Bridgewise products actually applies to this topical agenda. Then Dr. Adeoye will be taking us through the effort of AI in Nigeria to apply it in finance and more especially in the capital market. StartiSense is a very notable name for those of us that are, some of us that are very conversant with social media. StartiSense is always up there giving you periodic analytics of, the governance of Nigeria, important stuff in the corporate world as well. Bejide will be presenting after Dr. Adeoye for 10 minutes on the collaboration with the Nigeria Exchange Limited as regards analytics and artificial intelligence. This will be followed by a 20-minute session, a 20-minute session on the existing challenges and opportunity in the capital market, the trend that is shaping the financial landscape, and how we could enhance decision-making processes with data-driven insights. And of course, real-world application and success stories around analytics and artificial intelligence. We are all very aware of recent events around Sam Altman leaving OpenAI to Microsoft and his return. AI. And if you are online today and you are not hearing terms like generative AI, LLMs, and the rest, then I think you may have to search further. So without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Olufemi Oyenuga, the Chief Digital Officer of the Exchange, to present his opening remarks. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Hafiz, and thank you for that fantastic rundown through the programs of event. I think you've done justice to the flow of things as expected in the next 1.5 hours. But I welcome everyone, number one, into a new month, December. We're glad we all made it to the last tranche of 2023. And it was strategically positioned that we will have this curtain call webinar, which is going to be a series of webinar in the space and in topic from the exchange. So I welcome you. I first want to tender a reserve apology for the Chief Executive Officer of the exchange, Mr. Temi Pokola, who was actually busy in another engagement. So he might not be joining us on this webinar, but he sends his regards and he sends his profuse support for what we're trying to do. I think it's interesting that the world is changing. And I think 10, 20 years ago, when we look at the entire horoscope of data, analytics, and just sharing of democratization of information is always about getting information to the last mile, which is actually 100%. But then again, there's further iteration of that into decision-making intelligence on the fly. That ushered in the era of stream analytics, ushered in the era of deep analytics, or now ushered in the era of machine learning syntax to help galvanize narrow artificial intelligence into wide artificial intelligence, into general artificial intelligence. We now have generative AI as well. So using complex algorithm for complex solution. Now, how does that apply to the capital market? The capital market is also trying to find a voice of its own. The DNA is changing. We have been fortunate to run a capital market for over 64 years in this continent. And we have very big aspiration to take it into the next mile as we're looking at 2024 into 2025 into 2026. So like a 36 months plan. How do we reposition analytics and for growth in Nigeria? How do we now begin to tackle this interesting neighbor of called artificial intelligence that seems to be quite profuse and pervasive around all that touches life going forward? I mean, I've made mention to what has happened with ChatGPT. There are more ChatGPTs that we need to explore as well. And that sort of brought that entire, discussion point for what we'll be going through today through the various tidbits of presentation and also the session, the panel session. So I really want us to pay 100% attention, which I know you are. We really respect and honor your time for coming. And then we cannot finish the discussion without really touching on sustainability. Sustainability as well has an extended olive branch into analytics and AI. How do we see a sustainable world that talks to planet, profit, and people in 2024 and 2025? If we say data is the new oil, what is then the engine room? I will close by these few lines. Some people say your strategy our culture will hit strategy for dinner. And some people say, oh, well, culture will also eat your vision for lunch. I don't know what culture's breakfast is. And let me hand over back to you guys to say, have a fantastic, listening here. Let all the questions come in. Let us collaborate, bounce off idea in this repositioning and refreshing of analytics for the capital market so that we can build a very strong and robust, deep engagement through this webinar and some other things. Thank you very much, Hafiz. I hand over back to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Enuga, for that beautiful opening remarks. I wish you were in a hall to get your claps, but people can send their virtual claps as well as you get to respond to some of these things. So I think the next on the agenda is Temiloluwa's presentation on repositioning the capital markets with analytics and AI. Thank you, Temi. There you go.
All right, Hafiz. Thank you very much. I will share my screen now. But before you go, you get to a point where I'll have to do modeling for you, basically. But when we get there, I'll share with you. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present to you today, Dr. the NGX team. My name is Temiloluwa Shubwali. So I've been present on AI analytics for the stock market. Let me just share my screen quickly. And I'll be presenting on the truth myths of AI and the opportunity for the NGX growth. Basically, the reason I chose this topic is so that we understand what AI can do, what it cannot do for now, the role of humans in this, and how we can now use the strength of both technology and human for the growth of the NGX. On my agenda today, I'll be speaking of the AI capabilities and limitations, human capability and limitation, the opportunity in the market, right? How they will collaborate, the opportunity in the market, your role as an issuer or as a trader or as a broker, and questions afterwards. Now, to start with, what is artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence is the simulation of human intelligence by software-coded heuristics. So basically, it's saying that you are doing what humans used to do in an advanced way and a super way. So it's still human-based, right? But it is saying that you are able to do what humans used to do through softwares. So for example, things like ATMs are also artificial intelligence. They are using the human intelligence process to build on what can be done. That's artificial intelligence. Now, what are the limitations of artificial intelligence itself? What are the core things around it? It is still human dependent. Regardless of what you are thinking, it is competing against human, number one. It is built by humans, number two. So it is still human dependent. And basically that is what it is. It is still human dependent. So over the time it will change, but for now it has to be built by humans, right? It's competing against humans. It's even trying to model what humans do in a much, much, much better way. And that's what it is. Secondly, what are the limitations? Lack of initiative. For now, lack of initiative. So basically, let me give you an instance. There was a time I took Google Maps. There was traffic in VI, and I decided to use Google Maps to navigate to where I stay on the mainland. And because there was so much traffic, everybody used Google Maps on that same day. And guess what? Google Maps gave us the same path to follow. And guess what? All of us got into the same traffic again on Third Mainland Bridge because we're all following Google Maps, right? Now, at some point, I had to I left Google Maps and followed the yellow bus. And the yellow bus went through different routes I never knew, was following them all through. And in 30 minutes, I got to where I was going to. Every other person that followed Google Map on that day got home 4 hours after I got. Now, when we say lack of initiative, the routes that was followed was an initiative of the bus person I was following. Google Maps at that point will not tell you the route to follow, basically because you wouldn't know the bush path, you wouldn't know some other areas to follow, right? But your initiative as a human, right, is what is needed to do those kind of things. So I followed the initiative of Google. So for now, Google Map will not give you initiatives, but humans will. So lack of initiative is the second one. Thirdly, confidence levels and training data. And that attends to things around weather forecast. So I'll give you an instance again on that. In the UK, when you have weather forecast, it will tell you 80% confidence. It's going to rain now, 80%, or it's going to rain today, 95%. Confidence level just tells you that the training data, when it's 95%, shows that there's confidence level that this thing for 95% of the time, it will rain, right? If it's 80%, that means it's sure that 80% of the time, this thing is going to happen. It's going to rain 80%. So sometimes the data will tell you something, right? But because of the confidence level is low, it may not happen. And I'll tell you with weather forecast in Nigeria, it used to happen where you listen to weather forecast and it doesn't happen in Nigeria because we have low training data and we have confidence level. And I remember a joke of one of my cousins here that says weather forecast in Nigeria used to be another entertainment news. But when he got to London, he found out that weather forecast is important because you need to listen to it before you go out, right? So like I'm saying, the other limitation is confidence level and the training data that you need to have. It has to be local and the confidence level has to be high. Those are some of the limitations for the computer. Now let's go to human limitation itself. This is where I need Hafiz. Hafiz, I need you to come here back, please.
All right.
Yeah. So this is to test the limitation of human knowledge, right? I will share some numbers with you on screen, and I'll tell you. I want you to say it back to me, the way the sequence is, right? Have you seen this number?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to remove it now. Can you say the number back to me, the way the sequence is?
15372.
Brilliant. Great. So that shows your training data can handle 5 numbers, right? For now.
Yeah.
Good. Let's go to the next one. Can you read this number to me? I'll give you 1 minute to check this.
I've seen it.
Okay. Are you sure you can refer it back to me? Let's do it. Okay. What's the number?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19.
Brilliant. Good. That means you've been trained when you were young to do 1, 2, 3. And because you can see the model, you know the pattern. I'm just trying to teach you how models are built, how artificial intelligence is built. Good. Now, this number, look at it and give it back to me in the same sequence. Let's go.
2, 19, 7, 12, 1, 9, and I lost it there.
Good. So it just shows that the limitation of the training of data, right, is based on your pattern, is based on what you've been trained to do. So what I have below is exactly what you have before. It is 1 to 19, but reshuffled.
Right.
Your model has not been trained for the reshuffled data. And that is why I say that when technology is built, it is based on what it knows. So for example, he knows 1 to 19. You can't ask it to do this shuffled one, except you train it for the shuffled one. And I'll give 2 instances for you where I would train our data, our system every time as humans. Let me give you an instance of phone numbers. You know, sometimes it's difficult for people to get phone number, to know their phone numbers. It takes a while, right, to get to know their phone number. But after you know the phone number, it becomes really easy, right? Secondly is account numbers. When you have new account number, people have lots of accounts and many can't even know the account number because it takes a lot of time for you to build that model into yourself. So what we are saying now is there's a limitation for human knowledge too. You can only take as much, right, as possible. Computer has its limitation in terms of initiative and some other things, but the human also has the limitation too. So where do we come in an AI? There has to be a merger, a convergence between technology and human in terms of AI. And I'll tell you why. The reason is this. In terms of artificial intelligence, there's a place that technology plays its role. There's a place that human will have to play a role. So you have to know where you belong to. Or else when you are trying to compete in where you don't belong to, it becomes a problem. There are 3 levels of analytics. There's explanatory analytics, which is visualization of dashboards and all of that. There's predictive analytics, which is trying to predict, so what is going to happen next? What is going to happen this? When is this going to happen because of this? And there's causal analytics. In those 3 analytics, causal analytics is saying this will cause this. So if I wake up early in the morning, right, and I get on the road early, I'll get to work on time. If I woke up late and I get on the road late, I'll get to work late. But you know what causes that? There's a correlation between waking up early, right, and getting to work early. But the causal effect of that, what causes your getting to work early or late, is the traffic situation. So there's a difference between causation, and correlation. Getting up early and getting to work has a correlation. But the causation is the traffic situation is what causes you to either get there late or get there early. And we have to understand that there's a difference. So when computer tells you this and this correlates, this is correlating with this. So when you trade at this time, you get this. There's a correlation. But what is causing it is what is most important. Because if, for example, the causal effect changes. So, for example, on Saturdays, right, there's no traffic, so you get to work early if you're going somewhere late. But if you don't know what is causing it, right, on a Saturday, imagine you leave home 5 o'clock and you assume every day when I leave home by 5, I get to Victoria Island by 7. And on Saturday, you wake up by 5. I want to go to Victoria Island. You get to Victoria Island by 5:30. It won't be 7 because you don't know what the cause. So causation is very, very, very important. So in 3 levels of analytics, that's why I said 3 levels. We have explanatory, which is visualization. We have predictive that says you this and this have a correlation. You can predict this. But causation is where the work of humans come in, where you say, okay, based on this and this and this, I take this. And I'll give you an example of how this works in real life. When you use Google Maps, right, and you're in traffic, it will tell you there's there's traffic on this road, you'll be delayed for X number, right? Now, Google will now tell you, tap yes to follow a different route or leave it to go on the way. So the concession is saying, I've given you the visualization, I've seen it, I've given you the prediction, but determining concession or what you want to do as an action is dependent on you. So you can decide to follow the routes that you are on to say, okay, I know this route there's traffic, but it's just some road you are doing in front. You will clear anytime soon. You stay on the road or you follow what Google wants to do. So what I'm trying to say is there's a limit for technology, which is AI. There's a limit for human. There has to be a collaboration. Now, taking that to, so I think we understand is the correlation and the causation thing is very, very, very key in AI. You can't mix it. When you just tell you, oh, when you do this, as soon as you use that tool, as soon as you have that AI tool, no, there's still the causation part. And that is where confidence level gets built. So when you say this will happen and this will happen, if it happens today, that means there's causation. The confidence level has gone up, let's say from 50% to 60%. By the time you're able to say, if I leave home by 6 o'clock on Monday, right, I get to my work by 7, and you're able to get that done 100 times, right? That means your confidence level has grown up from 50 to 60 to 85 to 100. And every time you do that, you are sure because you've proven the causation and also the confidence level has gone up. That's why things around confidence level is important. Now let's move to our own market. What is the opportunity for our market? As you can see here, year to date across Nigerian stock exchange is 39% growth. London Stock Exchange is 24%, NASDAQ 36%, New York Stock Exchange is 5%. That means there's huge growth opportunity in our market. There's huge growth opportunity in our market. If you deep dive further to brands and success rates in our market, I'm not sure we see this kind of successes globally. A brand like Charms, for example, did 832% return year to date this year. CWG is 622%. Japol is 486%. FTN Cocoa is 528%. In real terms, if you invested 1 naira in Charms, you will have been getting 8 naira at this time in terms of value. Regardless of what the economic situation is, I don't think, even with devaluation and all people are talking about, right? Even if it's 50%, that means if you invested 1 naira and it devalues, right? You still have even if you cut 8 naira into halves, let's say devaluation, you made 8 naira but devalued by 50% because of the naira issue, you are still at 4 naira. That means you are still at 400%. Those are the kind of opportunities in the markets that we have, but it has to be driven by insights and analytics so that you know when to get in, when to get out, what to do, the models we need to build. This is also the market thing, indexes and all of that. Let me run quickly because I have only 10 minutes. Now, like I said before, we need our own correlations, right? We need our own positions. These are correlations. So basically, globally, what happens to exchange? What drives exchange up? What drives the all-share index exchange rate up, right? First of all, employment reports. When there's employment reports, if there's good employment in the economy, the exchange will go up because people are assuming that because of employment, the companies are doing well, they'll be more profitable. It's based on that assumption, right? CPI, inflation. Inflation also drives the exchange, whether up or down. If inflation is very high, there will be high borrowing costs, right? And because there are high borrowing costs, investors will think that companies will borrow high, right? And there won't be so much profitability. So the lower the inflation, the better for both the equity exchanges and also for bonds. GDP is a reflection of the performance of the economy. A good GDP shows that the economy is doing well, and businesses in the economy will bring returns to the investors, right? Economics policies also affect the exchange. These are correlations around the world in what drives exchanges growth and what drives decline exchange. But like I said, these are just correlation on global level, which is the basis for analytics globally. But local data must be used to prove causation. Local data must be used to prove causation. And what is NGX doing about it? NGX is providing as for analytics. They are providing now exponential analytics for issuers, for everybody to have insights. They are providing predictive analytics too for issuers, right? Now, the third bit that they are doing now is they are gathering historical data from across governments and across every area to have proof of position on the local level, because this will help us make a decision based on our local data and trend data. What are they creating? They're also creating intelligent platforms where you can trade, right? 5-star, 574, and all of that, where you can intelligently trade with AI and with intelligence, right? And get insights on what's happening in the market. Again, AI reporting. What does AI reporting do for the market? It gives you a report on what's happening to the market, having called all the information, and you get the best of both worlds. You know exactly what is happening, when it is happening, what do I have to do, right? How do I take action? And that is the use of AI. So this is what NGX is doing, empowering the market with analytics. Final words, basically. Let me give you an example of this visualization you are seeing there. Visualization just shows you a correlation showing Stanbic having good closing price on Friday, regardless of volume, right? And what that means is, regardless of what is happening on Friday, Stanbic will do well, whether they sell a lot or they don't sell, whether they have a lot of volume or not. But for FBN Holdings, based on this correlation, you can see that they need a lot of volume on Fridays to even become number 2 place in their industry. This is the kind of level of insights that you can get from correlation and analytics, right, for you to make decision. And my final words are this: explanatory analytics works better than years of experience and guesswork. Regardless of how your boss thinks, you're an analyst, you should know where your place is. Your place is at causation, not at the explanatory level. Technology will do explanatory better than you, better than your years of experience, because he's able to crunch more data, like you've seen, more than you can do, right? Secondly, predictive analytics enables your ability to perform more accurately and efficiently. If you are performing well now, take it from me, if you use predictive analytics, you will perform better, because causation, the analytics will help you achieve better results, right? And finally, use analytics and insight from NGX to create your local proof of causality on buys and sell. NGX will provide you with insights, explanatory, and predictive. You have to build your own causation by yourself to know that, okay, on Fridays when I trade, this is what happens based on insight. And on these days, so that you have your confidence level grow over time, and you know how to know when to buy or when not to buy based on your own model that you've built. Thank you very much for your time. Afis, over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Temi. You really spoke to the fundamentals of statistics and the mathematics behind modeling. Yeah. So, you you got me there when you when you spoke about the idea of the downfall driver, the yellow bus drivers, navigating better than than Google. Those are the owners of Lagos. Those guys really own Lagos. They know Lagos. They know how to maneuver, and really it will be very good to put that into a model, to improve something like Google Waze or Google Map. You spoke to correlation and causation, very fundamental part of machine learning, right? So I would like you to touch base. To put spend a minute again on that bit, because it's very key. It's very, very, very fundamental to what we are discussing, and how we hope to move forward with the analytics platform that we are about to release to the public. So if you don't mind, Adedamola, just give Temi a minute again to inform the audience more on this clause. Thank you very much.
No problem at all. I'll just speak to you directly from here. So the difference between correlation and causation is key. Correlation is so I'm trying to get in a simpler way. Correlation is saying when you buy. So let me use the slide I had before. I'll use an example of the slide I had before. 1 minute to that slide. Okay, so correlation and causation. In the market, for example, there's a correlation between Monday's volume. So let me give you an instance. There's a correlation between companies having lots of volume on Mondays, right, and having high share price. there's a correlation. So they sell a lot on Mondays and they have a share price. But what is causing that might be a lot of things, right? It might be that on Mondays, the companies release they do their meetings and they find out that they are profitable. So most companies have Monday meetings, right? So people have insights on the company, right? On that. So what that means is the correlation between selling high and volume is there. But the causation is what is actually causing it. What is causing it is that the company is doing well. The company doing well is the causation, right? The correlation is volume and sales. So we have to be able to know what is causing it, because if you don't know what is causing an issue, when the correlation goes up, let me use the example of this ice cream and sunburn rate. You see there's a correlation between ice cream sales and sunburn rate, right? Because when ice cream sales goes up, sunburn rate goes up. I use that as an example. Now, causation it is sun that is causing the difference, right? So what I mean is, if it is not sunny, right, there won't be sales of ice cream if it's not sunny. There won't be sunburn if it's not sunny. But if you just assume that, oh, when I keep selling my ice cream, there will be increase in sunburn rate, you can increase the volume of ice cream you are selling. If there's no sun, there won't be sunburn rate. In fact, increase your volume of ice cream, right? If there's no sun, there won't be sales. So the difference between correlation and causation is this. Two things might go together, but what is causing them is different. It is what is causing them that is most important, so that you can recreate the causal effect over and over and over, so you can get the result you are looking for. If your brand does well on Monday, find out the activities you are doing the week before. Maybe on Friday you did something. If you know the activity you are doing on Friday that makes your share price go up on Monday as a causation, you keep repeating the activity. But if you don't know the activity driving your share price on Monday, and you just wake up and you find out, okay, every Monday we have high share price or we have high volume, and you don't know what the causation is, there will be Mondays that if you're not able to replicate it, there will be Mondays that your share price will go flat, right? And your volume will be flat because you don't know what is causing your share price. But when you find out what is causing it, your volume increase and your share price increase on Mondays, then you're able to recreate it. That's the difference between correlation, which is two things going together, and what's actually causing the effect. Thank you, Hafiz. Hafiz.
Thanks, Timmy. I think maybe Hafiz is trying to get back online. Maybe we can take Adedamola's presentation now due to time. Okay, Adedamola, over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you. So I hope you can see my screen now.
Yes, please. You have the floor.
Okay, so good day, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to view our presentations, and thank you very much to the NGX for the introduction. So my name is Adedamola, and I'm the General Manager for Europe and Africa at Bridgewise. What is Bridgewise? Bridgewise is a firm that uses AI and machine learning for the analysis and recommendation of financial instruments. So what we're trying to do, our aims, I'll put them in four different ways. The first is, if we focus on equities to start with, is a democratization of equity research. So at the moment, let me maybe have a picture of me there, and I'll go to the third slide. So at the moment, there are 44,000 publicly listed equities in the world. Only 20% of those have analyst coverage. So the 80% of publicly listed equities do not have equity coverage globally. And the vast majority of that equity coverage is in English. So what we're able to do is to give you fundamental technical ESG analysis on any publicly listed equity anywhere on the globe, in any language. At the moment, we've translated to, I think it's up to 16 languages. It takes us 4 to 6 weeks to translate to a new language. So what we're looking to do is to democratize equity research. Traditionally, it's been the institutions, the asset managers, and the hedge funds that have had access to this type of high quality research from banks. What we're looking to do is to place that type of research across anybody that's looking to invest in a public equity. So democratization of equity research. The second is objectivity. Because it's our models that generate this research, it's independent. You know, very often the people who write research papers on issuers and corporates, they have other parts of their business that have a commercial relationship with those same institutions. So there's always been a perception and sometimes an explicit bias in terms of the way the research recommendations are written. We are fully objective. One great example of that actually is that I think it was 2021. So Netflix was all the rage because everybody was stuck home with COVID. And there was all the analysts that covered Netflix had a buy recommendation on it. With our tool, we actually had a sell recommendation on Netflix at that point, and its performance over the next 12 to 18 months then tapered off. That's one situation where the objectivity of research being created by a tool is actually superior sometimes, because there may be other reasons why some firms are rated the way they are. So democratization, objectivity. The third is information access. I had a great conversation earlier this week with one of our users. So he is interested in the microchip space. Microchips is in all these devices we use. And apparently in Taiwan, I didn't know this, but 5 of the largest 8 microchip companies are within like a 30-kilometer radius. And he's interested in this space and wanted to make an investment. And so he used our tool to identify companies within the sector. So he's identified a theme and a sector he's looking to invest in. And then he was able to use our tool to actually identify the specific companies that would make sense for him. So it's providing that type of information access that is one of the powerful things about our tool, and that we think would help an exchange like the NGX. So from the NGX perspective, it's creating increased access and awareness to my colleague earlier spoke about the outperformance of the NGX relative to some of the developed markets. But the increased access to this information will hopefully lead to growth in the capital market space in Nigeria. The fourth point is in some frontier markets, there is just no research. It's not that people don't decide to research a specific company. Firms have moved out of that space. They don't think it makes sense for them commercially. So we're actually a tool that enables people to have access to research. So our aims are really democratization of equity research, objectivity, broad information access, and the fourth, which is kind of linked to the third one, giving, even in frontier markets, even in relatively obscure public instruments, information within these sectors. Okay, the next slide talks through some of the type of companies we've covered. So they fall into 3 broad buckets: retail platforms, stock exchanges, and then institutions, sell-side and buy-side institutions. The next slide talks through the point I made earlier, this concentration of liquidity and market cap. So we've done some research, and the 3 largest exchanges there, NYSE, NASDAQ, and Shanghai, they represent 50% of the market cap of all public exchanges. Now, there's obviously value outside of that space, and using our tool, you're able to look to identify this value. It's interesting. I was listening to something yesterday. November, there's been a massive run up in November on the S&P, and I think it's up by nearly 20% just in November. But all that outperformance is related to about 5 or 6 big tech stocks. So it may look like it's a broad-based market move, but it's all been driven by a handful of stocks. What our tool enables you to do is to identify potential outperformers outside of the bigger names that are massively covered. So this slide talks to some of that concentration challenge, which we're looking to help address. The next slide goes through, I'm not sure how well you can see that, but it goes through an example of one of our screens. So we've got, I'm not sure how well you can see that, but it's got some of the liquid names in the NGX on there, and it's got the filing date, the last filing date. One of the advantages of us is once the filing is public and has been given to the right authority, we're able to process that within 48 hours. It takes most traditional research houses 2 weeks. And then it gives you the type of information you will expect: market cap, the sector weighting, and then the recommendations. Not all of our clients take the recommendations piece. Some take the research, but you have the option to take the recommendation piece. And so it gives you fundamental research, technical analysis on the back of that. Now, the next slide goes through goes for a specific entity. So we've got Dangote Cement here. It gives you a summary. again, the details of the filings, the fundamental ratings on the breakdown, strengths and weaknesses. And then on the right-hand side, you actually have a peer analysis. You can compare to peers within an exchange, within a sector, or even internationally. So looking to give you that information access. The next slide talks to the language capabilities. Most research is provided in English, and we obviously do that. We've done up to 4 to 16 languages, I said earlier. And if there's a need to be translated into any other languages, looking to address this democratization point I mentioned earlier, we're able to do that. And what we're looking to do is not just to create information and analysis. We don't kind of want this analysis by paralysis. It's actually to drive people to engage in the capital market. So we're looking to create meaningful information that leads to more engagement, more trading. We have about 1.5 individual users that use our service at the moment, and we're super excited to partner with the NGX and looking to grow the capital markets in Nigeria. Are there any questions?
Yeah, thank you very much, Damola. I got bumped out as you were being introduced.
No problem.
But it's a beautiful presentation, very clear insights. I took a very keen interest in that stock screener that you showed, and it actually underlies the efforts of the exchange in bringing partners to advance the cause of the exchange, basically to deepen the markets by increasing the participation of retail investor. And you can see recently we launched the USSD short code. This is one of many ways that we hope to reach out to the public to ensure that a retail investor would have a very cheap, easy to use tool in their hand, irrespective of their understanding of the capital markets. You don't have to be extremely savvy to understand what Adedamola just presented. And we're looking forward to this partnership, and we believe very strongly that it's not only going to improve retail investor participation in the capital markets, but also going to deepen the markets further and also enable other players as well in a very cost-efficient manner. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'm looking at
the chat
questions here, but I will present all these questions to the appropriate presenters after we go through all the presentations from all our presenters. So next is Mr. Femi Bejide. Femi Bejide is the CEO and co-founder of StatiSense. Now, all those analyses on the internet, those that you see on Twitter, this is an opportunity to interact with the founder of the company, to hear from the horse's mouth himself and what he wants to do and his next endeavor in the capital markets. Over to you, Femi.
All right, thank you very much for the opportunity. On behalf of my team and we don't take this for granted. The management of NGX, we're super grateful for the opportunity. Over the next few minutes, I'll be presenting a very, very niche angle to the whole AI and analytics conversation. I will shortly share my screen now. Just a minute here. And presenting, yeah.
Sorry to interject, Femi. For our attendees that have put in their questions, be rest assured that your questions will be answered before the end of this session. So just stay connected. Thank you. Go on, Femi.
Yep. So I don't know if is the screen very clear here? Can you see the screen here?
Not quite. There's a window presenter that is blocked. Something is blocking it. Presenter window. You have to click. Got it. No, there's a modal panel in front of what you are clicking. Okay, very good. It's good now.
Good. So just going to present.
You have to reshare.
Yeah, that's it.
Right. Good. Comes out well now.
So thank you very much for the opportunity again. We'll be focusing very narrow on what I'm presenting as Nigeria's overlooked generation. The different speakers that talked very technical in terms of what AI is able to present and produce in terms of the collaboration with NGX. But we'll be looking very closely on how do we really trigger the market to go to a very, very high level by bringing in what we believe is the very overlooked demography, which is the 19 to 35. We are very aware that the median age today in the country is about 18 years, which means that the biggest bulk of our population in the country falls within that space. And if we're going to retrigger and take the NGX, particularly in terms of the trading bit of it, into the next realm where we feel that could help catalyze even growth across the country. We believe that very strongly that this particular demography has to be brought into the mix. And right, so so over the next 20 minutes, I'll be looking very quickly on, I'll tell a very short story, and then in terms of comparing what really happened during the last major peak that we had, which for me was the 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 11, 12. How that compares with now and how we bring in a different basket of people. So, right, the big problem case here is that too few people are trading on the capital market. I listened to one of the speakers in a past event mentioned that just about 100,000 people actively trade. And I feel like for a demography of about 50 million, which falls within that 19 to 35, that's a very horribly low value. And, we need to find a way to change that narrative. I remember joking very much in the office around my colleagues asking, where do you really trade? And having asked almost 100 of them, almost everybody said anywhere else but exchange. And it struck my mind that we needed to change that narrative. And I'm excited that the management of the exchange are looking at how we can take the engagement very B2C by partnering with platforms like StartiSense to ensure that analytics can be brought down to the simplest form. So if you look at what is said here, data presentation hasn't changed over the last 50 years. One of the biggest challenges that demography has with representation of information. We still have a lot of very bulky information, and as we're aware, the TikTok generation, they are very much more inclined into very snapshotty kind of information, and whoever it is that is able to compress all the big information from the exchange into that kind of snapshots is going to be the one that will help transition that particular demography into the next wave of trading. Right, as we like to say, as I sense that we need to get Ada and Adamu, right, the language that they understand. And I feel like today the technicalities of trading and technicalities and the data that are coming out of the exchange slightly needs to be above them. So I think one of the biggest things that will have to happen over the next few quarters is that there will have to be a big transition from the very bulky, very technical, very elitist data into something very, very granular, something very understandable by both educated and non-educated alike. Right. So I would quickly brush through a very short story. About a guy that I met in 2006. Very funny. How 2006. We had recently met in Abuja, and we attended the webinar together. How the journey for an average 22, 23-year-olds can be. We can bring it and translate it into what can happen today. Right. Tunde, very interesting individual. While I was still following Moreno and Guardiola, Champions League and the classical issues all the while, right? He was trading, right? He was reading books by Warren Buffett, Larry Williams, and the likes on investing. From this same capital market in 2008, bought his first car, became an advisor. I mean, it used to be called Oracle, built a Bloomberg-style investment portal, right? Started providing advisory to a big 2 billion Naira private fund as at the age of 29. Now, bringing into context, this is very clear, right? Every of the offices that I engaged or worked in between that period, between 2007 and 2010, right, you'd find that many of the people within the age demography of either between 25 and 40, you'd find that majority of them, the conversations that dominated during that period were around capital markets. Of course, we had a lot of those wonder banks at that time in terms of how to transform your money. We had the deposits in terms of taking your money and putting in banks for deposits was also a big play. But very, very little was done, was said at that time of betting. Now you can see that over the last 5 to 10 years, that completely has changed, as you would be aware that more than 50% of, or between 40 and 50% of youths within that demography, if you go through their transactions, you'll find that this particular chart has completely changed, where betting is now a more dominant considered form of investment than what you'd find will be the really appropriate form of investment that should be really be advertised, right? So the conversation therein now lies that we've lost literally the IG and the TikTok generation, and we need to find a way to get them back, right, into the capital market. It is the crux of the presentation, right? The 21-35 demography taking their money elsewhere today. We need to find a way, right, to bring them back. There are over 50 million of them. They are prioritizing other investments. Even those who are not placing their money in betting and the likes, they are prioritizing alternative trading platforms, trading coin, NFTs and the likes, right? Even foreign stocks are taking a little more preeminence than even the local stocks. And we believe very strongly that if we're going to grow the market base, we understand the all-share index is probably one of the highest, but we still believe that it can go in quadruples over the next few quarters if we can get even more transacting people in on board. And I'm excited with the fact that NGX is opening itself very well to very key strategic partners, and we're very happy and excited to be part of that mix. There are a few ways we've identified in which AI can play a very key role in it, right? One of the very key ways is that we can use AI to simplify the narrative beyond candlesticks conversation. I mean, this is very imperative. I think was day before yesterday, I was interacting with a young friend, and he was like, candlesticks, doesn't resonate at all, right? It doesn't resonate. They would rather have stuff that are more conversational. And we're excited that, since the advent of ChatGPT, there's been a lot more interaction within individuals with AI via the LLMs and having the conversation style of getting data. We feel that one of the biggest ways, and we've done a very broad market research to validate this, one of the biggest ways in which people would like to now receive information will be through conversations. One of the big products that will be coming out in the first quarter of next year would actually be addressing this in conjunction with NGX to ensure that all the big complicated rendition of data will be transited into more conversation style and will be able to be understandable by even the very simplest of whether regardless of their education level. The second point that will also be used in dragging back this demography is obviously using AI and a very composite technology base to go from sign-up to trading. One of the big challenges that people have found is that I want to start trading immediately. How do I go from that information, that decision to trading within 5 minutes? You can download a fintech app today and start saving within 5 minutes. You can download and start making purchases within 5 minutes. We need to be able to take the market to that point. And this is what between 70 and 75% of people who in that demographic feel like even the onboarding process can be a lot better done. And I believe that using AI, collection of AI and some very interesting frameworks we can help break down the flow across all the different stakeholders, from NGX to CSS and all the different parties that are playing along in that play, right? To ensure that the onboarding process for the new entrant is as seamless as possible, right? One of the other ways in which we believe that this can play around is embedded distribution. And I believe that the future of capital market lies in embedded distribution. We've talked about this very broadly. The channels wherein people are making those decisions today are not necessarily going to be at the brokers' portals. Historically, over the last 100 years, you typically have needed to use a broker to do your deal. The NGX have to evolve significantly. And I'm excited that these are some of the directions that they're looking at. Distributing through channels that the transactions are happening. Today, the banks should be able to allow trading inside their portal. We should have fintechs allowing people make trades beyond the ones that are just registered to do that. There should be some regulatory framework that will protect platforms to be able to embed trading capabilities on their portals, regardless of if they have the licenses or whatever to do that. We need to open this up very significantly because there are a lot of other portals where these transactions are happening, and we need to get trading to happen in those places. The fourth part of this is, the technology part. We need to open the data layers for analytics. It's a big challenge today because the open APIs that technology will be able to use, for example, to access analytics does not exist today. Right, so I'm also very excited because of the fact that in engaging with the technology team with NGX, or from NGX side, I see a lot of willingness and a lot of work is going in that direction. And but we feel that we still need to get in more of the tech environment, the tech boys, I like to call them, to come in and innovate on behalf of the exchange, building middle layers that allow interoperability of APIs within the ecosystem and external ecosystems. I believe that this will significantly drive adoption and allow other players that are already clustered in other ecosystems to be able to plug in through a seamless flow of APIs, right? And very quickly, the number 5 is that bringing the trading data closer via other alternative channels. I feel very excited again that NGX is already working in this direction. The USSD launch a few weeks ago was definitely a step in the right direction. We need to take the channels closer to where they are. I believe that the WhatsApp channel, a USSD channel, there are so many other close to the C user that we need to systematically explore. Obviously sitting on an AI base and some very extensive language models that will ensure that the interaction with the customers are very seamless, right? So some of the products that are already in the works, the Market GPT, I believe that by Q1, Q2 next year will be a game changer in partnership with NGX. A lot of work has gone into this. The embedded NGX will be one of the big products that will really change the landscape. The WhatsApp trade and some other, the X terminals in partnership with some of the other players who we've mentioned here today will be very game changing in terms of the products that will disrupt the markets and enable this demographic we've talked about to further embed into it. The market, as we know, is extremely big. We're just scratching the surface. If we're able to just turn in just about the 100 million in terms of the total market size and the serviceable 50, and even if it's to get within the next 5 years, 5 million new people trading, we believe that the all-share index should be around the 150,000 mark if we are able to get these people in trading. What will happen is that catalysis of more people coming into it and the buzz, and then the information that goes around in it and gets more people interested in it, and then more funds flow into it, pushing the demand side, obviously increasing the value for the companies that are currently trading. Right. So this is what it has been. Let's try and bring back this generation. We need them to scale the markets. Thank you for your time. If there are questions, I'll be more than willing to answer.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your beautiful presentation. You really spoke to the core of the issue in the markets, and I like the talk of increasing, the retail participation in the market. The capital market has been the platform and has stood the test of time over six decades. The NGX has remained, a bedrock of wealth creation for the Nigerian masses and the world at large. Look at, for instance, many quick money doublers have come in between 1960 to date. You have seen MMM vanished. You've seen many of those categories. They've all vanished. Bitcoin, crypto have failed people, and has made people. But the market that is fully regulated, where not just any entity can be listed without regulation, where no participant can play, even we are in the NGX, we cannot, play anyhow. That's why this kind of partnership is going to be very well monitored and regulated. And we are also going to put the relevant information out there in terms of, guiding the public. Thank you very much. You have also got questions, and we have a question on the screen, right? Because if you look at it, when Exchange implemented the trading platform in 2013, the new trading platform, we call it then, it's no longer new. 2013, Exchange. The idea was to implement FIX, which we did. And today, from the comfort of your home, you can actually trade from the order management system portal of your broker. You can trade through this portal from the comfort of your home or office, or even when you are in transit. All you need is access to this platform with your username and password. So all you need to do as an investor today is to reach out to your broker if you do not have login, to say, okay, I want to open an account or I want to trade online. You can do this from the comfort of your home. I've seen it. People are doing it every day. So, but I find out that this information is not out there. So I want our participants, the audience on this call, to do justice to this question on the screen. Can you trade online today? Yeah. Is it a yes or no? Can you trade online today? Thank you. We need you to provide answers to this. We want to see the rating between yes and no. Thank you very much, Vejide, for the presentation. We'll move forward now to the next presenter from AI Nigeria, Mr. Dotun Adeoye. Thank you very much. Over to you, Dotun.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. And I thank the NGX for bringing us as part of the collaboration and extending an arm to sort of share on this topic. Today, I will be looking at what are the use cases for growth in the capital market using AI. Some of my co-panelists have broached on use cases in AI. But before we start, I just want to say that AI is not a magic bullet. It's not a golden dust. There's always going to be going from unstructured data to structured data and being able to build your AI products. I have a presentation that I'm going to share, which basically look at what different areas there are. AI in Nigeria is looking at how to apply AI to solve challenges locally, to create growth, to create prosperity in terms of different areas. And what I'm going to be going through are ideas and then wrapping up with a brief list of 5 different points in terms of ideas for growth. I start by introducing who AI in Nigeria is and what our focus is all about, and end with ideas of growth in the capital market. So can you see my screen? Okay, I guess you can. So so I basically will say at this point that what we are doing with AI in Nigeria is sorry, I'll go to the front. So AI in Nigeria is leading the charge to take charge in localizing AI across Nigeria, to collaborate with stakeholders in diverse sector, and to make sure that we blend international standard with homegrown innovation. What we're also doing currently is looking at different sectors in terms of how ready different sectors are for AI. And we're going to be releasing our findings in January. AI in Nigeria was co-founded by Ehia Rabo and myself, Dr. Adewi, and what we're going to be doing, what I'm going to be doing on this presentation is looking at the capital markets today. In different parts of the world, in the US, in the UK, in Asia, AI is increasingly being used to improve efficiency, reduce costs, mitigate risks, and it has a lot of potential to transform the capital markets industry by enabling faster decision-making, more accurate predictions, and more things. It's not new. AI has been around since the 1950s. Currently, we've had a wave of generative AI, a la ChatGPT and other large language models that's got a lot of people excited. And like my colleague said, there's a group that are very savvy when it comes to technology, and these are the young people in Nigeria. They cannot be left behind. And I think globally as well, beyond the young people in Nigeria, the children of the Nigerians in diaspora are also looking at Nigeria in terms of opportunity. I was at an event yesterday and I had a question being asked about opportunities in Nigeria in terms of investment. And I told the guy to come on this call. I don't know if he's there, but the interesting thing here is that in terms of opportunity for growth and opportunities in Nigeria, there's all eyes on the exchange. There's a lot of Nigerians in Nigeria, young Nigerians between the age of 18 and 35, looking at opportunities, but also within the country as well. In terms of growth, I'm going to be going through use cases. So algorithmic trading is one of them, where there is a possibility of analyzing large volumes of market data at very high speed to make predictions and execute trades. And these can potentially result in better returns than traditional human trading. And the ways we've seen this happening in different markets is where traders are trained to understand how to use a lot of these AI solutions so that they can make it work for them and not against them. And in terms of the next thing is about managing portfolios, where the optimization of asset allocation in investment portfolio to balance risk and have more return more effectively than traditional methods is another way where we can have AI in the view of things in terms of making things work. And this is one thing that I believe that will resonate with the exchange in terms of this is one of the ways where AI can be embedded into the operation of AI in capital markets. I'm quite happy when I'm hearing, and I know, and I'm aware of some of the things that are being done in terms of the programs and projects that are being done, and even making it as easier, things like WhatsApp embedded as well. Managing risk is also another way where AI can help in terms of prediction and quantification of different types of risk, from credit risk to market risk, operational risk, helping companies in the capital market to make better informed decisions. This is quite an interesting one because given, when I have conversations with Nigerians and non-Nigerians about Nigeria, the word risk is always one of the things that comes up. So being able to demonstrate that there's a dual system of having risk management officials and risk management processes there, and also having solutions that are being crafted, these are opportunities that can also be kind of looked at where the capital markets can have potential growth. And these are opportunities that are low-hanging fruit because it's already happening. And I'm sure that this is some of the things we already know. Detecting fraud and preventing fraud is also another one, where to identify the patterns of potential threats in terms of fraud, and also preventing it in trading and ensuring that the integrity of market operations and investor protection is there. I was listening to the figure of return on the exchange compared to New York or London being better back on the Nigerian exchange. This is very good, but I think it's also important why we're having this, to also pass the message across that fraud detection and prevention is being done through multiple fronts, and AI is one of the ways where this can be done, and it helps the investor confidence levels as well. There are different types of investors, which we already know this, but personalizing the advice being given by robo-advisors can also help investors and democratize access to capital market strategies and engagement. And I think this is one area where AI can sort of multiply the sort of reach and the demographic of who engages with the exchange. And if we're targeting the younger generation, not leaving them behind, making sure that they are represented in the activities and the growth drive of the exchange, this will be a welcome one, because they can engage with this. If they're already engaging and using ChatGPT and using other platforms, they're using Bing, they are using different tools where they are using conversational AI, having robo-advisors will help as well as driving growth in the capital market. Sentiment analysis in the market, in terms of the news via social media reports, we can sort of understand what is happening in the capital markets, which will be helping us for more nuanced investment strategies. In terms of monitoring, regulations, in how the capital market is complying with regulations, AI can help to monitor and give report in the ever-changing environment, because there are different initiatives that are global in nature, localized, and also local regulations. So in the environment of the capital markets, understanding the risk of non-compliance and reducing that, this is where AI can also readily come in. The next one is predictive analytics for market movement. With the embedding of AI, forecasting of the market trends and movement of the analysis of historical data enables proactive investment strategies. And I think this is one of the ways where, in terms of the movement and having the predictive analytics, it helps all stakeholder groups and those who are illiterate in investment or using the exchange to trade, or even just dealing with traders. This will help in terms of making things easier and simpler for those who are coming into it and for those in the operations already. High frequency trading is another way where AI can help in terms of the strategy, which entails making a large number of trades in quicker time frame and making it easier for the traders, because this is what human traders cannot naturally do. This will help in terms of having a higher frequency volume of trade, potentially helping traders to enhance and kind of up their game in terms of volume. And then finally, in terms of this area is customer service, enhancing customer service. AI chatbots and virtual assistants that are sort of embedded into customer service, customer support, customer engagement will highly improve investor relation and satisfaction. And this is going to be adapted to the sector or the scenario, so that there is a lot of fine-tuning that happens regularly for understanding of making the investors happy and making them quite satisfied with what they do. I had an experience myself in the past where I had some investment in one of the banks that was sort of morphed into another one, and trying to understand what happened, or what was even happening, for me was quite painful. So having knowledge, articles, fine-tuning and embedding of details of what's happening 24/7 for investors and the wider stakeholder group, even regulators before they kind of have physical meetings. This is where AI can also help to make things very smooth. It's one of those areas that I'm sure everybody here, we agree that customer service is one of those key areas. And then I kind of quickly looked at 5 ideas for growth. Financial literacy and investor education is one of those areas that I think is going to make growth happen, because the more you understand the terrain, the more you want to be part of it. When investors are more knowledgeable about the marketplace, they are more likely to want to participate, diversify their portfolio, and contribute to market stability. And I think in terms of regular engagement, like what we're doing now, and having online resources, I've seen some questions about access to resources and things like that. It will educate potential investors about the benefits and the risk associated with capital market investments. The next idea is diversifying the market and having new financial instruments. I think introducing a variety of financial instruments can attract a broader range of investors and issuers, and AI can help in this. All these areas and ideas of growth I'm listening here. We're already talking about embedding AI, so technology advancement, embedding AI, digitalization, and I think finally, integration and cross-border collaborations will help in terms of, making things more possible in terms of growth. I want to finish by saying that AI, like I started, AI is not a magic bullet. There are different things AI can do, and there are different things AI can do. But the most important thing here is that, the NGX group has already started all this collaboration, and I'm grateful that we've been invited to talk about this, to present about what AI in Nigeria is doing and how AI in Nigeria can support different organizations and companies in terms of understanding what it takes to be ready for the embedding of AI in the operations. Like I said earlier, by the beginning of 2024, we will be releasing a report, sectoral analysis of how companies are doing in terms of being ready to use AI within their operation, because we need to understand what the roadmap to embedding AI looks like, because a lot of stakeholders and individuals and some people that reach out to me on social media like LinkedIn has been, if we want to embed AI and have growth in our business, can that happen within a week, within a month, within 3 months? There is a roadmap, there is a process. And this is one of the things that, we will be releasing early next year. In terms of the capital markets, the NGX group is not going to be the first that is looking at AI. So there are lessons that are learned that we've documented as AI in Nigeria. But the most important thing is that we need to localize it for our domain, for our terrain, because what works in New York or in London may not work in Nigeria, because we are different people, we are working under different circumstances, and the uniqueness of the Nigerian environment is that can help us to thrive. And we have examples of this. We have unicorns in Nigeria, so it can be done, and more unicorns are coming, I'm sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dotun. More unicorns are coming, and the exchange cannot wait to have many and produce many unicorns, as we have always done. The exchange is home to many unicorns, of course, the Airtel of this world, the MTN of this world, and the Dangote cement of this world. And if you look at for those that are very conversant with historical data, look at the listing price and look at the positions of those companies today. That's the value, the key value that the NGX brings to this company. Giving you the right environment, the proper regulation, and making the investor trust the institution. In that regard, thank you very much again, Mr. Dotun Adeoye. In that regard, talking about the institutions and the HNI, Temiloluwa Shubowale has asked that he should be contacted by issuers, representatives, and HNIs who are interested in subscribing to free analytics reports, right? So if you don't know how to read Temiloluwa, you can actually send me an email. You can shoot me a message right now. Before we delve into the panel discussion, I would like to address some of the questions that have been shot. I have 23 questions in all. Many people are interested in this presentation. I've seen a couple of accolades. I've seen also a lot of questions by very savvy and keen followers of this market. I'll start from number 1, which came at 10:28 from Olu Joshua. Can we get presentation sent to our mail? Yes, if you have registered, we'll send you the presentation. Yeah, and I think I get concurrence of the presenters as well. The second one, what can one do to build predictive analytics skills? Any program on that? Yeah, so the exchange has what we call X Academy. And through this similar collaboration, we have products, we have training, that we do periodically to empower the Nigerian populace and the world entirely if they are interested from anywhere. So we bring this kind of skill to interested audience. Interesting, the poll result is out. 50% know that they can trade online today, while 50% know that they cannot trade today. This kind of conversation is happening at a very historic period in the history of Nigerian exchange. So just for people that are on this call, it shows that for you to be on this call, you are a keen follower of the exchange, right? And only 50% of them know that you can trade. So thank you for that very good insight. It gives us direction to what is next in terms of enlightenment and education. So someone is asking, in a layman language, and also to state some, for you to be to do predictive analytics, understanding of a programming language is key. Understanding of a database scripting language like SQL is also important. Understanding of EDA platform like an exploratory data analysis, the one offered for using the Matplotlib, Seaborn of Python, also very key. Tableau, Power BI makes it easy. And then you can delve into machine learning algorithm, ensemble techniques, and the rest. I think we're not going to dwell so much on that, but I think the information is always online. Yeah. So with this, I think it will also guide you. So in a layman, somebody's asking, and I like this question. I like putting things in layman. And I would direct Femi Bejide said, what is AI and how is it used to improve the stock market and probably stock recommendation? Femi, 30 seconds.
All right, nice question. So to be able to tell the future, you a lot of times need historical information. So artificial intelligence just looks at a very big data sets from the past, right, and establishes patterns over a period of time, and then is able to predict likely what will happen. Now, I mean, as one of the speakers had said before, I mean, it might not be as precise, right, because events happen and scenarios are changing every single time, right? But the key fact is that what AI can do is to help prompt to say, okay, these are the signs that we are seeing, right? But ultimately, the decision will be left for the person who executes at the end of the day, right? But in terms of looking through a big chunk of data, artificial intelligence is able to sift through 20 years of records and see patterns that you will not be able to see through the naked eye and bring that decision to you. But ultimately, a lot of times, the decision has to be finally executed by itself.
All right, thank you very much. Hope that does just it. Temiloluwa, do you want to add something?
Yes, I think basically, yes, he has said most of the things. in terms of using AI for the markets, right? Like you said, the models are there. But what you need to watch out for is just the confidence level and as it grows, because again, the system will give you recommendations to say buy at this time. If you buy at that time and you find out that when you bought it was fine, then you know that the confidence level is higher, right? So you have to, AI has to be built over time in such a way that the models keep growing, it keeps changing until you are really precise to be sure that anytime it is so time, this happens, right? You know when to buy, you know when to sell, right? And that is what is key, because again, with data, because for humans you can't see historical data, but with analytics you can crunch millions of rows of data and columns and come up with insight for you. But like I said, the first stage is the explanatory. The second one is the prediction. Then the causal is what you've worked on yourself to say what causes this thing. When you find out what is causing it, you are able to replicate the cost every time and get the result you are looking for. So when you buy, you know when to buy, you know when to sell. When those causes change, you know when to flip and not buy.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Temi. Talking about COSA, and I remember the speech of the president of Nigeria, COSA effect and correlation. Yeah. So that speech say, I am not doing price subsidy again. And what happened to the Naira? And what happened to the market? So, you know, you can see how this COSA and correlation works. So then let's quickly move. I think this question is for Damola. Say, are you working with any stockbroker to subscribe to your service so that your recommendations could be implemented on the go? So I can click buy or sell based on the recommendation on your stock screener.
Yeah, so we work with stockbrokers across the globe. We're in conversations with a number of the largest in Nigeria at the moment. And theoretically, yes, you can access our application on either the exchange portal or on a stockbroker's portal, and then trade off the back of the recommendations. All those normal disclaimers, obviously, are evident, but theoretically, yes.
Excellent. So we would ensure that we facilitate that. We monitor the processes and ensure that proper handshake is done. You can trust the exchange for ensuring regulation in that slide. Another person is asking for your beautiful slides across all the presenters. This will be shared. Very important question here. 18 to 35 age demography actively betting. They said they actively bet. Yes. Said they place bets across all manners of items and mostly gets burned. Are we saying the analytics for trading is more cumbersome than that of the betting platforms? Is there any analytics on the betting platform? I've seen a situation where people actually approach madmen for recommendation of what to bet, right? For too sure. So give me too sure, or too sure on Baba Jebu. You know, they just listen to a madman saying 1935, then they go and bet it. And funny enough, it works. So that is not an analytics, and that's why it's so rampant. Your friend can just by the roadside and say, trade it. I mean, you're not even the trade, bet it. Put your mind, take it, put your money there. So I think Dr. Efo also is signifying for contribution or comment.
No, yes, thanks, Hafiz, for the good work so far. But I think in interest of time, maybe we can respond later to some of the questions, because we still have two key parts of this entire webinar. There's the digital asset and those the plenary session as well. I'm just being mindful of the time because today is Friday.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, so let me address this one on the USSD code. So that's the last I will take from the questions. Very insightful questions actually. The USSD code works today on two telcos, MTN and Airtel. There is effort to make it available on other telecommunication services providers, Globacom and Etisalat. So the code is *5474#. On this code, if you dial it right now, it works. *5474#. You will see the gainers You will see the volume traded. You can see the security price that you are interested in. And you can actually approach any broker on it to open accounts. You can begin the process of opening accounts on it. And the last item is actually to raise complaints. You can raise complaints, it will be sent to our contact center, and they will reply to you. This works. I do check this every day, and it works. Temilolua.
Yes, one minute. Just to address the issue of the betting, I think what NGX is doing now is just getting information to the hand of people, and for them to be able to use that to earn money, and for them to be able to build their portfolio. Now, betting is just a way for people to gamble and earn money regardless of what it is. If things, as Femi is saying, works out, where the Gen Z have access to capability to trade, right, we will move many people from betting into being able to trade in the markets. If they're able to trade and to see their returns or get their money when they want it from brokers, I think we'll move a large chunk of people from that area. And that's why I like the kind of thing that NGS is doing, trying to put power into the hands of everybody. So you're able to also build wealth from the markets. Because on the other side of betting, that they think can build wealth. But with this, it's more controlled. There's more analytics, right? There's more value for it. But we need to also build the value as a brand to say, look, instead of betting, there are other ways in which you can build wealth on a sustainable and more structured way. And that's what NGX is doing. So I'm just saying to say, look, betting itself, as bad as it looks, is an opportunity for NGX to turn people around, to be able to use the platform to also create wealth and value for themselves. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for providing more color to it. Daniel, have you got a presentation on digital assets?
Yes, I do. I can just, it's a quick one, so I can just go into it.
Okay, so just as you prepare your slide for sharing, digital assets in its various forms is what the exchange is also working to acquire license for its operation and issuance. Operation means trading. So the exchange is not lost in the conversation around digital assets trading. So we will be coming in the coming year to come up probably with a product to the market on digital assets, issuance and trading. I think in the next less than 10 minutes, Daniel will be presenting to us a presentation from CESO Global on the potential partnership with NGX on digital asset trading. Over to you, Dan. Thanks.
Great. Thank you very much, Aziz, and thank you for the opportunity to the NGX and all of you here today to tell you a bit more about our work at CESO Global. And thank you for these great presentations beforehand. CESO Global is Africa's one-stop shop for trusted real estate transactions. We're now building a solution called Mintero to fractionalize and tokenize real estate investments, which will utilize our analytics on the market to, as we've discussed, really give informed decisions on when buying into real estate, and especially for those not looking to buy a whole house, but looking maybe just to buy, a portion, a fractional part of a property. So, they said, what we're really trying to solve at CESO is a lack of trust and transparency when buying real estate in Nigeria. So this really goes into people's issues with inconsistency in property titles and land disputes. As we all know, there can be a lot of issues when you're trying to find if the property, who the owner is the property legitimate? Is there going to be any encumbrances on the property? And then also regulatory challenges and bureaucracy. We all know that real estate is a great asset class, but oftentimes there's challenges with the land titling, with the taxes, with a lot of the bureaucracy. And then additionally, for a lot of us, buying a house is a major investment. So we look at in Nigeria today, there are little financing options to make that accessible. So that's really the key solutions we're trying to solve with our partnership with NGX, which we'll go into shortly. So just to really go into what Sesso does as a company, and you can go to our website or download our app, sesso.global, or on the App Store or iOS. We work with trusted property developers. We work with over 200 real estate developers to verify their land titles and their documentation to ensure that the properties are legitimate. We work with mortgage financing banks to offer financing for the products. And then when we do the verification, we work with law firms, property managers to do additional due diligence to understand that the analytics and the info you're getting is validated by a trusted third party. And really, as we know, with AI, we really need to build up a trusted database and verifiable information to be able to make those smart decisions when investing. So a lot of that, what we do is we utilize the blockchain to build out these tokenized assets. So at the front end, when you go to our website, sesso.global, you have our marketplace. And on the back end, we have our Prop OS system, which manages all the documentation and information about the properties. And then again, we do verifications with the land registry to build up as well a verifiable history of the property. So really building that strong data set that can be verified and vetted before it goes to the market. So we like to really say utilizing technology, specifically the blockchain, to verify data that allows these vetted transactions. Additionally, I just wanted to touch on, we're launching a first of its kind diaspora mortgage product with one of Nigeria's most established longstanding insurance firm, TA Braithwaite's. That's going to allow utilizing our database of verified real estate developers will allow Nigerian diaspora abroad and local as well to get their credit scores done in their home countries, so say US, UK, Canada, and Europe, to then purchase back in Nigeria. And what we'll be utilizing that is utilizing our verified registry of properties that will allow the banks to make informed decisions for quick lending and allow for more development. This has made significant traction to date with over 100 properties sold, almost 150 transactions. But what we're really seeing is a lot of flow. It's why we'll go into more about the tokenized product. Most of our sales coming from the diaspora, over 80%. So when we look at the real estate market, the statistic that we use is that it's estimated over $20 billion, right, is remitted to Nigeria each year. And a recent report by the CDC estimates that 30 to 50% of that goes into real estate. And so there's a massive opportunity to really transform real estate development if we can channel that flow both from the diaspora and locally into secure real estate investments. And to touch on just really the opportunity, this is data from a recent article on The Guardian, that says by 2050, this strip of land from Abidjan to Lagos is going to be the most rapidly urbanizing coastline in the world. And so by 2035, we're estimating over 300 million people in Nigeria, 30 million of those in Lagos, and an urbanization rate of 50%, over 50%. So really a massive opportunity, and as more people are growing in these coastal areas, as Lagos and the coastline in Nigeria is growing, there's going to be a massive demand for real estate, which will provide a fantastic opportunity for investors who are able to access that opportunity. And again, just looking at the population, charts, we really can see that Nigeria is really primed for increased growth with an average population age of 18 and a high urbanization rate. So, when we look at where to invest, we look at opportunities for growth within real estate, within markets where, more people are going to be moving to these coastal areas and will need services, especially essential services as food, housing, and beyond. And of course, some of the aspects we already know, some major infrastructure developments already happening across the Lekki axis. And so when we look at going to go more into tokenization, analytics, and making informed decisions, we already have a lot of data of where the real estate is moving. And so if we look back, say a few decades, if we were able to get, the average investor data about what was happening in Lekki, phase one, at the beginning, you could make informed decisions. So what we're looking at doing is that as we build this database of vetted real estate developers, we also work to locate developments and infrastructure being built near them. So when you're making an investment decision into a property, you can then see projections based on both what is being built in the area, but also how real estate has reacted to similar growth developments happening in other areas. And so we can, look at, the opportunity with all these multi-billion-dollar developments happening in this Lucky Access. And these are the type of analytics and data we will utilize for the clients when making real estate investment decisions. So as discussed, one of the core issues in investing in real estate is affordability and the cost of buying a property. Real estate offers a great asset class and returns, but of course, most people do not have the capital to invest into real estate. Sesso has developed a partnership with several key players to build a solution that we call Mintero, which will be a product with the Nigerian Stock Exchange to buy digital real estate assets. We'll be starting with real estate and hope to expand into other asset classes very quickly. But as we know, looking at why people invest in these gambling sites, Bet9ja and others, a lot of it, I would say, is not just about data, but it's also about the user experience and the easeability to buy into these assets. So we want to make it, with our partnership with NGX, as simple as buying real estate as placing a small bet, on the next Arsenal game. So Mintero is a blockchain platform that streamlines the creation of security tokens in Africa. We're focusing on projects that will be starting in real estate and infrastructure and also SMEs. We utilize the blockchain to tokenize these verified real estate projects and make them available for sale. The way it works is that we first have a process to find these real assets, starting with the Sesso real estate developments, to utilize with the blockchain, tokenize these assets to allow people to buy individual tokens starting at a small amount. Our aim is to tackle the multi-billion-dollar infrastructure gap when it comes to real estate, which comes to demand for those who are moving into these fast-growing coastal areas and beyond. And so this is an opportunity for both those who are going to be moving into these structures, into these assets, but then for investors to take advantage of these growth opportunities. And then on the back end, we have a portal where users who buy can manage their digital assets and hold them on their account, which are secured on the blockchain, so you can follow your investment growth and your opportunities and what your returns have been. So again, as we talked about, making it easier and making the analytics very visible to the user so they can see the opportunity, they can make informed decisions, and they can track their growth and development. And really our core end goal is to build confidence in the market. As investors see the opportunities and see the growth, we'll see investments not just from Nigerians and Nigerian diaspora, but from the world, who see Nigeria as a key investment space and a secure space. And I agree with what Afis has said, that when we look at a key role for the NGX is that people want to invest with brands that have a reputation and that have shown success, decade after decade. And so with NGX opening up, utilizing tokenization to open up investments beyond just the traditional assets, what we'll see is that global investors who want to get into these assets enter the market. So what we're building is a very simple process where project owners will join the Mintero platform and upload all of their KYC and due diligence information, which will then be approved for tokenization. We will then, it's a blockchain agnostic platform. So utilizing one of the several blockchains, we will be able to tokenize these assets into small shares, starting as little as $50 to buy into these real estate assets. And then once the assets are created, they'll then be made available on the NGX platform and through the broker network, where verified buyers and through the NGX brokerage network can buy into these assets. They can then manage the growth and their returns to see how their investment is performing. So that's a bit about what we are building. and you appreciate the time and the opportunity from NGX to present. Just gonna screen. And we're excited for the opportunity to bring this tokenized assets into the market. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Very, very wonderful presentation. You've done a lot to capture the real estate, especially in terms of digitalization. And we hope that this is brought to reality in the next coming year. So there's a very important question from Joseph Onyema. Very good question here. Joseph clearly shows understanding of the market underlying issues. But before that, I got a very positive one from Salisu Abdullah. Said it's a wonderful presentation from all the presenters, and he wants a copy and even the recording at the end of the session. So Joseph said, KYC and account opening complexity in the market is a major concern in the market today. And we have thousands of accounts just in 2023 that customers begin and then abandon due to the number of fields required. What does the NGX have in the pipeline to reduce this burden, as young people are not willing to stay as long to go through the hassle? All right, so then he said the industry has not really advanced much in years. What's NGX plan to help make the brokerage houses and the entire industries to standardize to the point that the CBN can recognize us and expose that APIs such as BVN data to us? So let me answer this one very quickly. Just yesterday, we received an email from NIPS, and this followed a series of engagement with NIPS over the past couple of months. Yeah, so NIPS now recognize the exchange as financial players. So there is a rule around what APIs to use and not. But they are considering the use of BVN, right, within the capital market. And there are many ways that we want to be using the the BVN to achieve some of the goals of the exchange, right, in deepening the market and also increasing the retail investors' participation, right? Some of the product that we're going to be releasing is our EIPO platform called X-Ray, and is heavily dependent on using BVN to onboard account opening, right? So on our USSD as well, we are using it to reduce the burden of account opening. By the time you provide just your name and phone number, the brokers can take it from there. We're also hoping to extend this to CSCS for CSS integration. Once you have a CSS account, then your broker can take it from there. Yeah, so accounts are now being tiered into tier 1, 2, and 3, and brokers will advise you on the level of investments within the tier. We can assure you that today the exchange is doing a lot to solve some of these underlying issues with technology. So without further ado, there are still a couple of questions, and the total number of questions and feedback right now is 46. But before we go there, let's quickly take a session on a panel discussion on what we have discussed so far. Yeah, let's talk about LLM, generative AI, which has generated a lot of noise in social media space today. I want to ask Dotun, yeah, generative AI. In layman, just like somebody put it, how would you describe generative AI to a layman for clear understanding?
So in layman terms, there's been AI for quite a long time, and generative AI is just that bit of AI that is conversational and is clever enough, is creative. Before now, AI was just about logic, but now you now have the creativity via generative AI, where you can say, write a poem for my wife. I was actually reading a Nigerian guy who said, "Oh, sorry, darling, I've been writing poems to you using generative AI." Or you can create a song, or you can create content for your social media pages. So generative AI, in a layman terms, is that bit of AI that is democratized enough that you don't need to be a data scientist, you don't need to be a Python developer, you don't need to be a statistician to be able to use it. It's conversational, like ChatGPT, where it's tied to large language models where you can input stuff into it and it will give you a feedback in seconds. And that's what generative AI, this wave of AI evolution, has done for us.
All right. So you mean moving forward, we should be looking at a platform where I can say, which stock can I invest in that will give me results, this gain in the next 3 months? Can we look forward to something like that?
That's a good question. If, generative AI is also made by humans, so it's the data you put into it. So before you can have that advice, there has to be a data behind it, and there has to be an ongoing fine-tuning, which means you're updating the data you're putting into it. So yes, it is possible, but you need to provide the data. If you don't put, like Femi said earlier, if you don't, there are some historical things you need to put into the backend for AI to actually work. So generative AI, as fanciful, as easy as it is, yes, you can advise me, a robo-advisor, to sort of say, okay, what stock should I buy? What stock should I not buy? But there will be a group of people actually updating that, or a mechanism, it could be automated, where there's an ongoing updating. There has to be an underlying data. Yes, it's possible, but the general public need to know that it's not magic.
Okay, so you're saying that after putting something in place, we should continue to experiment, iterate, and iteratively also improve the system with data, in order to take care of unseen data that will come in the future.
And hallucinations,
All right, okay. So, all right, thank you very much. Let me quickly run to Temi, right? So, can you speak to how you believe the analytics platform could impact the business of the issuers? Temiloluwa.
Thank you very much. Actually, working with NGX, we've been able to build an analytics platform that issuers can use for end-to-end to see what is happening to them, because the focus has been on the buy side for a long time, leaving out the issuers. But basically what we've built now with NGX is a system where analytics can be used by issuers in this process where you're able to see what is happening to your brand day on day in correlation to what is happening to your brand on social media. You're able to do risk analysis from the brand. And I must give a case study of someone like Elon Musk, which I followed for the last 3-4 years. And I saw that his use of media was in correlation to the growth that he had in terms of being wealthy. So he moved from being 30 in the world to being 25 to getting to number 1. And following him clearly, I saw that there was a use of media to say when it was 30, the media will say, oh, Elon Musk is now 30. He might become 20 in the next 10 days because of key activities he's doing, this and this and this. And in the next 3, 4, 5 days, he moves to 25. Now, when he gets to 25, they'll say, oh, he's at 25. He's just two stages away from X and X. So issuers need analytics to plan their activity in the market, one, to know that, look, whether you are buying or whether investors are buying or selling on your brand, they are looking at your brand from point. Analytics brings the activity of everybody together into a dashboard for you to visualize and see actually what is happening to you and make decisions on your customer sentiment, which is very important, decisions on the activities you are putting out on social media. So for example, I'm able to predict if your business is doing well. If customers are complaining about your business on social media, there's a guarantee that on the long run, you will lose those customers, you will lose your revenue, you will lose your profits. So we should know those kind of things have an impact as issuers. Also knowing what day you sow. For example, there are some brands that have days when their share price is high, when their share price is low. What are the causes? What causes your share price to be high? What causes it low? When you know those things, you're able to plan your activity over a period to keep your brand and your share price at a particular level. So what we've built is a system where issuers can see exactly what is happening in the market to them. And also a reporting system where you're able to use AI. So like you said, generative AI will be the generative AI system that writes reports on a daily basis for you on your activity, what happened to you, what happened to the competition, what the percentage change was, and all of that. So you're able to plan. It's not a surprise. Like people think, no, there's no need for surprise any longer. You have data to plan your activity on day, and you have to know that whatever you are pushing out, your corporate communications and everything affects your your perception in the market, which drives your share price, right, and drives your value. Yes, I know stockbrokers will want to look at your profitability at the end of the day, but before you are waiting for the end of the quarter to know what the results are, I'm able to have some data points to see exactly whether you will do well or not is depending on what you do on a daily basis, what happens to you from the customer point, and the general economic, and I spoke about general economic feasibility of the brand. So analytics helps issuers in that regard to plan what's happening to them.
Thank you very much, Tammy. Just a very quick one to Adedamola and probably Bejide, Femi. So in a very quick 1 minute, we know that we've got these search engines before these large language models came in, and the form of artificial intelligence in some regard. In what cases would you say that the large language models have advantage over the web search? Please, 1 minute. I will look at this.
Should I quickly go first?
Yeah,
so I think for what we do, so we are analyzing research. So for us, the ability to use a machine to analyze massive data sets and generate a result that means something for the end user, that's our value proposition. So for what we're doing in terms of analyzing financial research and large data sets, it's crucial. Thank you.
All right, Femi, please, online.
Right. So, I mean, the difference between the using LLMs and the search engines, right? It's about the data sets that both of them are looking at, right? The search engines also have some form of AI behind it, as it were, right? So they also look into a very broad data set, but aggregating in a different way than the ones that are using the LLM in the conversational way, right? So I think it is about how the result is being rendered that gives the tag, right? They typically are doing almost the same thing across board.
All right, thank you very much. Very quickly, I'll go to Dr. Irene Robinson to give us a 1 minute closing remarks as he touched based on what the exchange has been doing in the ESG space. Irene.
Thank you very much, Hafiz. So distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as we draw the curtain on NGX's technology webinar, I want to extend my sincere appreciation to everyone for being a part of this event. Your active participation and insightful contributions have not only elevated the discussions, but also reinforced our collective commitment to steering the course of the Nigerian capital market into a future where technology is the driving force to enable increased shared prosperity. This team, Repositioning Analytics and AI for Capital Market Growth in Nigeria, served as our guiding beacon towards the vast landscape of analytics and artificial intelligence. Today's conversation has shed light on the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead for every one of us, emphasizing the critical role of data-driven insights in enhancing the decision-making process. We have explored real-world applications and success stories, paving the way for NGX to solidify its position as a trailblazer in the AI revolution within Nigeria's capital market. Our recent presence at the Invest in Africa's Future event in New York, alongside distinguished figures like Nigeria's Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani, underscored NGX's commitment to championing sustainable economic development. It is a testament to our dedication towards being at the forefront of digital technology in Nigeria and across the continent. At NGX, our unwavering commitment to investing in the state-of-the-art technology drives us forward towards capitalizing the big data and AI revolution, as well as adapting to the fast-changing landscape and ensuring that technology is not just a tool, but a real catalyst for progress. As the sustainable exchange leading the change for economic development of our nation, we are collectively building a legacy of technological excellence and economic empowerment that is based on sustainable principles. And so one of the things that Hafiz has said I will quickly talk on is our own effort around ESG. Now, beyond using technology as a catalyst, it's very, very important as well to encourage our issuers to ensure that they introduce to the public the various things that they are doing around ESG. We are going to launch in the first quarter of next year what we call the ESG Compacts, as well as the Net Zero Commitment Program, which is one that would ensure that our companies are doing all that they need to do to showcase the efforts that they are making to reach the net zero initiative, as well as to ensure that ESG is embedded in everything that they do. And so I encourage all of you to look forward to the launch of these two projects. Now, in conclusion, we thank you all for your valuable contributions and for being a part of today's webinar. Together, let us forge ahead into our future where innovation meets resilience and where the Nigerian capital market stands as a shining example of technological advancement. So thank you and have a great weekend, everyone. Back to you, Hafiz.
Thank you very much. For those that are yet to get their questions answered, we would do justice to the questions and get back to you. Dr. Femi, do you have something to say to round off?
Yes, thank you very much. Just to say, it's been a fantastic 2 hours of solid discussion. And thanks to Irene as well for putting that vanilla of ESG as she closes. And, you know, from all the discussion on AI opportunities with the capital market, collaboration, the vertical machine is not here to take your job, but at the same time, how do we deepen the market? And to you, Hafiz, and the panelists for doing an excellent and champagne delivery of the discourse today, repositioning analytics and AI for the capital market. This is going to be played throughout our series. This is the beginning, is the curtain opening. We seek forward to continue to engage and cut our market even as we go into 2024. I wish everybody a fantastic business, fruitful and successful career and entrepreneurial journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Very beautiful presentation. All right. Cheers, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.